I've just found out from over in the little workshop there, we've got a very talented blacksmith, and excitingly he's making a replica arrowhead which was found in the archaeology from the same excavation as the two Saxon houses that we've previously built. So it's going to be a really nice thing to have that arrowhead made and have it shafted with the fletchings and actually have it put up in one of the buildings. I think it's a really nice thing to do.
So on the records, it's 57 mil in length. Now I see impact at the end of that, so I'm going to round that off as it's lost 3 mil, and that was, I would say that's a 60 millimetre from socket to end arrowhead.
It's just so rare to find something like an arrowhead. It's so often you'll find the post holes and that's about it. And we usually go to graves to find things like arrowheads, spears, all of that kind of thing. To find something in situ which hasn't been buried and has actually been used and blunted is just amazing. I met this lot a good few years ago when I was volunteering with Butser, and just fell in love with the atmosphere and the crafts, and seeing blacksmiths going here, leather workers going there, and it just grabs you. That's the moment when you know that you're hooked to a place and it kind of becomes part of who you are and part of your bloodline.
I believe you've got some 8 mil round shafts. You can.
Yeah, I can taper them down to fit that, no problem. So my job today is to shaft that arrowhead and fletch the arrow, and hopefully firing it at a target without it breaking.
We're looking for a nice bright orange, early yellow. Now because we're outside and we've got the sunlight to compete with, it's going to look like a dull yellow when it's probably more of a bright yellow. We're just spreading the socket now. So this is the bit that's going to go around the shaft, and I use the cross peen part of the hammer because that helps give an even spread. It helps you get as much as you can out of the material that you're spreading. Okay, one more heat on there and I'll just take out the hammer marks. Okay, now we're going to roll the socket. I'm going to take this heat. I'm going to use this little cutting on the stump here because there's a tiny little step just to pinch the first part of the roll. So we've got it's because the metal's hot, it's soft, so you can still get away with using things like wood. Wood is very useful in the blacksmithing world for dishing and moulding metal around things depending on what you're making. What I'm going to do now, I just started to get, all I wanted is a slight dishing. So when I go in with the shoulders now, it shouldn't squash the socket too much, and then we'll roll it. So we're going to take the shoulders in now. Can I bring you over for your eyes? So
yeah, of course.
I've got a socket I can work with, obviously a little bit larger. It does get tight there, so it is starting to get tight as it goes down, so we only want to close the top in, I guess, ever so slightly. Or do you reckon that's okay?
So pinch the top in. Ideally I'd like that to be just a little bit thinner than this, because what I can do is taper it, get a nice wedge in there with some pitch, and then the arrowhead's not going anywhere, we'll be looser later.
Okay, I'll pinch the top in ever so slightly, and then and then I'll cut it off and make the head. I'll go slightly higher, so I'm actually rolling the socket into itself now. Cut this off. So I'm going to put a short tapered square point on the end of this, and then we're going to turn it to the side, and then we're going to squash it because it is a flat-headed arrow. And here we go.
That should fit in quite nice. Ooh, brilliant.
Oh, yeah, nice. There we go.
So, with making pine pitch, all we need to do is get some sort of filler material, so something to bind it, which is quite nice and fibrous. The pitch is the adhesive we use to stick the fletches and the arrowhead to the shaft. So it's quite an old recipe. It's been known to exist since the Neolithic period. and it's just so useful and so good that it just never goes away. It's almost close to the tar we use today. The glorious thing about it for the period is it's not a protein-based glue like hide glue. So you don't find it gets eaten by insects or animals, so it's quite long-lasting. Luckily enough, pitch is quite a simple recipe. Everything is in a 1-to-1 ratio, so it'll be 1 part fibre, 1 part pine resin, and 1 part charcoal. Now you don't need to add beeswax, but I usually enjoy adding beeswax because it makes the pitch a little bit more flexible. And when you're making something like an arrow that's being loosed at a good few miles an hour, it's best to have all the flexibility you can have. It's quite therapeutic. The wind's taking it over that way. But it's fine, we got enough now. So the trick here is just to get the pitch melted. But what you don't want is you don't want it to start to boil and smoke. So you need to keep the temperature quite regulated. It's almost like molten amber. Now that's melted, what we're going to add next is some temper. So you want it to come to a nice, thick, almost custard-like consistency.
But I'm guessing with the fibre that would give almost like a gripping purpose.
Yeah, so it's very similar to why you'd add things like dung into wattle and daub.
Okay.
It just kind of keeps things together. These are all things you can find on your doorstep. The most difficult is probably the pine resin because that just takes time to harvest. But if you know where to look, you can even find it just sat on the side of pine trees. It's usually quite white, quite viscous, and that's good enough to make yourself a primitive resin. So the only thing that can really go wrong right now is to find out that I haven't really got a good mix with the pitch, because all I'd need is to have a little bit too much fibrous material in here for it to kind of lose its adhesion. But looking at it now, it doesn't feel too grainy, it feels quite smooth. It's almost like the primitive Pritt stick. And this is where putting the pitch on a stick really comes into play, because granted, I would never have been able to do this if the pitch was just in a big gloopy mess in a bowl. So the first feather we want to put on is the black feather, and that will go straight in line with the end of the arrow. Like usually I'll do this over a candle because you can direct the heat. Every feather is completely different, so you just have to get used to an arrow never being 100% perfect in your own eyes. I think we're ready to go.
On behalf of the craftspeople today, we'd like to hand over this arrow for you to hang in one of the Saxon halls.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, it's a privilege.
It is wonderful.
We'll have to decide which building to put it in.
Yes, and we need to make sure that people understand all the effort and skill that's gone into producing it.
So, seeing as you built a Saxon hole down, would you like to
Yeah, I'll be privileged.
give it a loose first?
I've not fired one for about 41 years.
Just put it on your finger, pull it back until you level on your cheek, and then you loose it off.
Wow.
Well, I got my building.
Let's take that away.
That's really good.
Got the building.
I know. Whoa, I hit the target. Yes. I didn't hit your house.